Hi, and welcome to Jill Cameron Creations. Today I am using one stamp set to create two very different Christmas cards. I'm using a stamp set by Maker Forte, and it is the Build Your Own Christmas stamp set. It is super cute. It has this wreath and all these different elements that you can put inside of the wreath. So the stamp set is sitting right there, and I'm going to take it away because it's all nice and shiny and it glares. Anyway, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of doing like a gold embossing powder, which would be absolutely gorgeous with this, I'm going to clear heat emboss this wreath, and I'm using the Maker Forte embossing ink, and I'm going to then actually foil it with deco foil. It gives a very different look. It's not over the top gilded looking. It gives a little bit more depth to it, and it's just a very, very different look and a very different way to add gold to your project or any other deco foil that you want to. This would be really awesome to do in a rainbow foil on white cardstock. Oh, that would be so pretty. Oh, that would be so pretty. So that's one way you can get a very different look from your stamps, is to clear heat emboss and then foil over top of it. And I'm going to finish showing you how to do this in just a second. I did heat emboss this twice with clear embossing powder, and you get the depth of the heat embossing, and on top of it you will have that beautiful gold foil. So this first card, I'm going to finish off with square dies. So whatever square dies that you have in your stash, you'll be able to use with this to make this particular card. We will be using a laminator for this process. I turned it on so it would start heating up before I started making the card. So it's sitting over there to my left, and it's already warmed up. We're going to cut a piece of gold deco foil, and of course you can use any color you want to. I thought the navy and the gold, since they are really popular right now, would be absolutely gorgeous for a little bit different look. And I'm just sizing this to the approximate size of the wreath that's on the card. I didn't measure it or anything like that. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have any over foiling on this. So I'm not taping it down or anything. I'm just sticking it in a piece of scrap paper, and I ran this through 3 times. And that was just to make sure that the gold foil was going to stick to my heat embossing. You can do this a couple of times with a couple of different pieces. I was happy with it when it came out. Notice that it's really dark looking, and that's the depth that's behind in that clear embossing powder, which makes it absolutely have a different look to it. It's so pretty. I'm going to pull this out, and now we're going to do the sentiment, and I'm going to keep the sentiment for this really simple as well. I played around with a couple of different ideas, and I ended up going with "May your days be merry and bright." And I wanted to kind of keep it monotone with the gold on it. And I thought, oh, well, that silver pearl embossing powder will be really pretty. And then I was like, I don't think it's going to stand out near as much. Pulled out my distress ink, and I pulled out tumbled glass, and I wanted to use that and just nothing else. Unfortunately, it just wouldn't get dark enough or bright enough for what I wanted it for. I just couldn't get it to the level that I wanted it. So I went ahead and I stamped this 2 or 3 times so that I could have enough on the cardstock and it completely covered it. And I pulled out my Nouveau embossing powder. I have some that pretty much matched it by chance, and of course I listed that in the products listed down below and in the description on the YouTube video. And I went ahead and just heat embossed that color on there. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that gold. You can see that gold right there. Absolutely amazing. It's beautiful in person. I wish pictures could actually capture the shine of different things as much as in person could, but of course it can't. So I went ahead and I cleaned all of this up really quickly, and I wanted to, at first I thought, oh, I'm going to die cut this with a round die. Yeah, I didn't like the look of that. I went ahead and pulled out something I very seldom use, and that is a square die. It's a really old set. You can use any square die that fits around this. It happened to be, it was a dotted square frame, and this was like one of those very first square die sets that came out years ago, and I just happened to still have it. When I ran it through my die cutting machine, I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose any of that gold and foil on the top of that element. So I went ahead and put a piece of that gold foil back on top of it, and that's all that was for, is to make sure that I didn't lose any of that gold by pressing into that top plate or another piece of paper. So there's a tip for you to keep your gold there. So here is, I trimmed that down, and I went ahead and I trimmed down a lighter piece of blue that almost matches the foiling, the sentiment on there. And I'm going to actually add the snowflakes to this. I'm going to use the round snowflakes and white pigment ink, and I'm just going to stamp around that outer edge there to give it a little bit look like patterned paper. So I'm making my own patterned paper here. And I didn't have to stamp in the center of it. I didn't mind if they overlapped or anything, because we are just making sure that this has a little bit of texture to it on that outside, and it's really subtle. It looks absolutely amazing. I went ahead and I cleaned this up really quick, and I popped up our dark navy panel there, and I popped that up with using some foam tape that's on the back of this. The finished card size is 5.5 by 5.5, and I just trimmed my panels down to however much border I wanted to show on this. I wasn't really measuring to see how big it was going to be or anything like that. I glued the light blue panel down to my card base here, and then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to pop up that dark blue panel with some foam tape. And that's particular card off. Now, I wanted to do more than one card for this stamp set because there's so many different elements in this stamp set, and it is so cute. And again, this is the Build Your Own Christmas stamp set. And I love the Christmas tree that's in this stamp set. It is so stinking geometric, and it's just adorable. There was something, it's just something about it on that little hillside that I absolutely love. So what I went ahead and did was, after I finished this card, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to definitely use this, but I didn't want to use it with the wreath. So I wanted to show you how you could do a very, very simple card that you could quickly mass produce. Both of these you could, but the foiling on the other one, you could trade that out for heat embossing, but still it's going to be a little bit more time consuming than this would be. I'm just stamping this in black Copic Safe ink, and I use Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink for my Copic coloring, and I stamped this slightly to the right. And then I'm going to stamp the joy that is also included in this. I'm just keeping this really, really simple. I'm using my mini Misty so I can make sure that I can stamp this twice. The color that I'm using is scrapbook.com. This is Cardinal Red. I was getting ready to say caramel red because I'm sitting here drinking a cup of coffee that has caramel in it, and I'm really, really loving it. But this is Cardinal Red from scrapbook.com. It's part of their hybrid ink collection. I pulled out a couple of Copic markers. If you stamped this on Bristol Smooth cardstock, you could use watercolor markers like Clean Clear Zig Real Brush markers, or even Tombow markers for this if you wanted to, because you would be able to blend if you did that on the Bristol Smooth cardstock and you wouldn't have the marker lines on it. You could do this in colored pencil. You could do this in what other color medium you wanted to. I mean, it's super, super simple. When I first colored this, I honestly just didn't like how dull it was and the colors that I picked out. So I went back and I added in a really bright green and then went back over it with another set of greens, which caused my greens, of course, to bleed a little bit because I had a ton of marker. I had a ton of ink and alcohol on this paper, that blending solution that's in the markers that make them stand out. So I went back with a white gel pen in some different places where my markers bled, and that was my own fault because I put a ton of color and a ton of marker down on this paper, and I'm using 80-pound Neenah Solar white cardstock to ink blend here, or color with my Copic markers, and I literally just put too much marker down on the paper. So I'm going to take a white gel pen and just go around the edge of that black, and it's going to cover it up, and you're never going to know it. You never ever know it. My camera went out of focus for a minute on the purple, so I did not get the chance to color to show you what that was. I used BV000 and just colored in that under the hillside, and then took a 0 marker and blended it out really well, so you can't really tell where it stops and it starts in person. And I'm going to take a stitched rectangle frame and trim this down a little bit, and then I'm going to glue it to a top folding note card. So it's a simple card. I went ahead and added a little bit of glitter to this with a glitter brush pen. Absolutely super simple card. I think the longest part of this card honestly was coloring the tree in. No big deal, and you, like I said, you can color it in whatever medium that you wanted to there. And I'm just going to glue this straight down. You could of course pop this up if you wanted to. You could add some jewels to this, but I just kept it really simple to see that you could mass produce this card really quickly. Don't forget to head over to the Maker Forte shop and pick up all of your Christmas stamps. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. Thanks for joining me today, and stay tuned for more. I have a super special card coming up next week. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single card. I have bunches of stuff coming. I'm so excited. Thanks again. Y'all have a wonderful day.